Imagine you've accepted your first job out of college as a business analyst for a company, and you're sitting in the middle of a boardroom. As the chief operating officer is giving his direction for the company, your cell phone starts to ring. Many of us have been in this situation, and we see it happen more and more in public places. This unethical use of technology has run rampant across businesses, schools, and other public places, and is painting a black cloud over the head of the digital age. As educators of digital information and the use of technology, we must find ways to work with parents and inform students of this unethical behavior and explain the what, the why, and the how of digital citizenship and promote a safe, legal, and ethical environment for these students to learn. The use of digital information and technology has grown exponentially over the past 15 years. Based on statistics from Internet World Stats, there are nearly 2.3 billion Internet users worldwide. Safety in the use of digital information and technology can be broken down into two major areas that will impact students and educators alike. The first being the protection of personal and private information, and the other being etiquette and responsibility when using digital information and technology. Statistics show that approximately 9 million households are affected by identity theft annually as of 2011. This number has increased 33% since 2005. As we have seen in the past years of online purchasing, there has been a steady increase in e-commerce. This increase promotes more chances that people willingly give out their personal information without knowing the extent as to what the information is needed for, how the information is being stored, and what will be done with the information once the transaction is complete. As we move towards a cashless society and purchase more goods through the internet, it is a responsibility as parents and educators alike to ensure students and our youth understand the value of their personal data. This includes sharing of information on social websites such as Facebook, with Facebook becoming the largest social playground to ever hit the internet. More and more students, youth, even adults for that matter, always want to be the one being talked about by posting profile pictures that are inappropriate and really just to create a buzz across the internet. Uh, Teachers must teach students how to protect that private data. If there are inappropriate pictures of any sort, students must be aware that as soon as they hit submit or send in any of those, the damage that may be caused. Now, while the loss of personal data or the misuse of private information seems to be distant to most students, cyberbullying and the protection of private information, or lack thereof, has increased exponentially as more kids are constantly engulfed in digital technology. Mike Ribble, professor at Kansas State University, describes the new schoolyard bully as rather than stealing a child's lunch money, the bullies are now going after the student's pride. In order to shift this moral compass, it is the duty of teachers, administrators, students, and parents to warn one another of the dangers in this unknown environment. Where there is no external enforcement like we have police, there's only internal enforcement of strong morals and ethical behavior. Just as our leaders of the past would tell us not to get in cars or take candy from strangers, we must teach right from wrong and identify the possible outcomes from these scenarios. With technology becoming more and more integrated in our schools, this responsibility will fall squarely on the shoulders of teachers and administrators alike. As we discuss cyberbullying, America has found itself in the middle of a bullying crisis, with much of it spurring from the increased use of digital technology. School administrators have now found themselves in the middle of legal battles, trying to establish what elements the schools are responsible for and what elements do not pertain to the education of the students. As we see with most cyberbullying cases, cyberbullying may start on campus, may start off campus, but often bleeds into each area. Administrators can get into legal trouble both if they react to cyberbullying and also if they do not react to cyberbullying. Perry Aftab, a lawyer who has founded several internet safety organizations, including Wired Safety and StopCyberbullying.org, states the real issue here is whether public schools have the legal authority to deal with actions that occur off premises and off hours at a non-school sanctioned event. FTAB continues that the answer is they don't have the legal authority. But once it drifts into school in any way, it's like the Midas touch. This gray area for administrators and teachers alike makes it very difficult in the pursuit of cyberbullying. Whether administrators and teachers pursue incidents too far may lead to possible litigation, or if they don't pursue far enough, uh, the teachers and administrators may be seen as ignoring an issue. Kevin Jennings, the Assistant Deputy Secretary for the Department of Education's Office of Safe and Drug-Free Schools, says he is sympathetic to the school leaders' predicament. He suggests that preventative measures such as an anti-bullying curricula, the increased emphasis on appropriate online behavior, and the ongoing parental education can head off many of these significant problems. Despite the lack of legal clarity on cyberbullying, he says that school leaders must act, and must act now. Ongoing education of cyberbullying is the key. Internet usage agreements usually are not enough to reduce a school's liability when it comes to cyberbullying, explains Algeria Ford. Since school officials hold a fiduciary relationship with students, it is the school's responsibility to ensure their safety and well-being while the students are in school. Ford, a lawyer, believes that schools must not hide behind a usage agreement, but continuously monitor, educating the students on the issues of cyberbullying, and with coupling that with the usage agreements, schools and school districts alike will be better off. Algeria Ford then goes on to state that the underlying issues behind cyberbullying can only be addressed, and parents, teachers, and students can only be taught how to avoid perpetrating and becoming victims of this phenomenon if these usage agreements are to come up void in a court of law. So now that we've addressed the issue of cyberbullying, what can school districts do, and how do we handle cyberbullying appropriately? Nancy Willard, the director for Center for Safe and Responsible Use of the Internet, recommends not only the use of usage agreements, but a comprehensive approach to addressing cyberbullying. When using this comprehensive approach, there are certain elements that must be contained. Willard goes on to state that creating sunlight, and this is an increased awareness of cyberbullying concerns. Creating an environment for students to speak up, to not hide behind their fears. Empowering educators, parents, students, community members, and knowledge of how to prevent and respond to cyberbullying. By creating this open door policy, students and educators alike will be able to move forward with the next element would be to provide warning to cyberbullies and their parents of possible negative consequences. If schools do pursue such actions, providing a warning may fend off some cyberbullies. Proactively address concerns of cyberbullying on campus with policies and effective supervision and monitoring. This is where the usage agreements come in. Any misuse or abuse of digital information or the technology provided by a school district could prove to be very harmful in one's education. So by having the usage agreements, administrators can hopefully shield off some cyberbullying on campus. Next is to develop a plan of action to engage in effective threat analysis for any reports of cyberbullying that raises concerns of violence or suicide. Once students do address the concern of cyberbullying to an educator, most educators are unaware of what to do or who to take it to, whether just to send the student to a counselor, to a principal, or to really sit and find out the depth of the problem. By educating teachers on how to respond, school districts will be able to head off many of these problems before they escalate to violence or suicide. Finally, is to develop an effective community-based approach to address concerns of cyberbullying that occurs off campus. As the old saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. By creating this community-based approach, knowing that everyone outside of a school will have the same interest as the administrators inside the school, cyberbullying will be much easier to curtail and to hopefully end one of these days. And after reviewing Willard's approach to addressing cyberbullying, it is imperative that educators and parents work together in a very collaborative uh, agreement to participate in this planning, developing, reviewing of policies and procedures. This way the rules are transparent to every individual involved in the use of the digital media. Now that we've identified this digital disease and the effects it may have, what can administrators and educators do to ensure the students and faculty alike don't fall victim to these traps? Mike Ribble and Dr. Gerald Bailey from Kansas State University's College of Education have established 9 categories of digital citizenship that must become part of a school's culture on educating youth, whether it's of cyberbullying, the protection of data, personal data, and private information, or if it's just how to act when using a social chat room. The first of the 9 categories is that of etiquette. These are the electronic standards of conduct or the procedures used on the internet. Just as we have etiquette in real life, the same etiquette must follow in the use of digital information while on the internet. The next is through communication. This is the electronic exchange of information, and one who communicates digitally should communicate the same way they do in real life, or not on digital technology. The third is education, and by far the most important. The continuous education of digital information will help everyone involved in every situation. This will be the process of teaching and learning about technology and the use of the technology. Access, the full electronic participation of society by having everyone involved and giving everyone access. Everyone will then know the appropriate ways versus the non-appropriate ways of doing things. With the internet still being a new environment, more and more people come to the internet daily where they have no idea how to act on the digital environment. With everyone having access, this would hopefully go away. The next is through commerce. As we spoke earlier about the increase in e-commerce, the electronic buying and selling of goods, has its own environment on here as well that we must learn about. Responsibility. This is the electronic responsibilities for actions and deeds. What you do on the internet, you must be held accountable for. As we spoke earlier, that there is no external enforcement such as police on the internet. This responsibility must turn into the etiquette side of the strong morals and ethics. And we must respect each other's rights. These freedoms that we have in our lives also extend to everyone in the digital world, and we must respect that. Safety, this is the physical well-being of those in the digital technology world. As we've seen with many of the cyberbullying cases, constant badgering does lead to a physical harm with many people. We must address these issues as they come up and pursue any leads as they come to us as educators. And finally, the security or self-protection, using electronic protection or precautions to guarantee our safety. Now, after reviewing these 9 standards, schools will be able to use them and establish guidelines for the use of digital technology in the classroom so that teachers, parents, students, and administrators alike will be embedded by the importance of digital citizenship and the use of everyday technology. As the use of technology transforms into more of a social environment where more students and educators alike are using digital technology to communicate, socialize, entertain, and collaborate, it is evident that new morals and ethics must be established and maintained through clear-cut policies and procedures and education. By creating these policies and procedures, usage agreements, and the continuous monitoring and education, the importance of being a digital citizen, students will find success wherever technology will take them. Thank you.